Hi there and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm IceMan and today we are going to be doing a guide video on Mausoleum Mage. Right, so Mausoleum Mage, he is a force-based Undead Hordes champion who's a support champion. His damage is based off of attack. And let's take a look at him, shall we? So basically we've only got 3 abilities on this chap. He is only an epic. But what an epic is he? He is absolutely brilliant. So we'll start off by looking at his A1. His A1, Soul Manacles, attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. This can be booked up to 50% chance, which I really should have done already myself, to be fair, which I'm going to do at some point very soon. Obviously very nice in the arena, helps keep enemies slow. It is only 1 on enemy, so it's not the end of the world. It's not his best ability by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a bad A1 to have either. This is kind of his big money ability, Might of Undeath. Places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn. Also places a 30% increased crit rate buff and a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. This starts on a 4-turn cooldown, can be booked down to 3. It only takes 1 book, that's great. So he's not too book hungry. Obviously you get the block, he's brilliant for the arena because you get the block debuffs up, you're not taking any debuffs. If you run him with a more defensive team, he increases defense, thereby increasing your survivability and your damage output. But if you're running attack-based champions, he's still going to make you more survivable, give you a little bit more toughness, you know. So that's great. I don't really worry too much about the increased crit rate. I tend to try and build champions for max crit anyway, but if you do have some champs that you've struggled to get up to 100%, you can put them there using this ability, so that's great. And it lasts for 2 turns, so you know, nothing to scoff at. This is the ability that a lot of people love him for, if pairing him with Seer, because obviously he puts up all these buffs. That's 3 buffs on each of your team members. So, you know, that's, what, 12 buffs up out of 4 people, so that's good. And then she can come along and strip them all and do a load of damage. But even if you're not running him with Seer, it's still a great move, regardless. Then if we go on to his A3, Winds of Purging, removes all debuffs from all allies, then heals all allies by 10% of this champion's max HP. Heals each ally by a further 10% if 1 or more debuffs are removed from that ally. Fills each ally's turn meter by 15% if 2 or more debuffs are removed from that ally. This takes 4 books and can reduce the cooldown from 5 to 4 and increase the heal by a further 30%. So you can get the heal. If you book it, the heal's going to be 40% of his max HP. So he's a sport-based champion. He doesn't really hit hard anyway. You're going to want to build him out with a low chunk of HP, and he's going to be doing some really hefty heals with this, which is nice. And then obviously you can get even more heals depending on the debuffs he's removing. So he's great for the arena. He's great in dungeons. He can be used in clan boss. Obviously he's throwing. He can remove the stuns, keep your team healed up, and can put increased defense on them. So he really is a good champion. Certainly earlier game, I used to use him in my clan boss team. Before I started running Unkillables, he was in my clan boss team, and he's a brilliant champ at that. So that's all his kit. The other thing to note here is it removes all debuffs from all allies. And at the moment, when recording this, it's a bit broken. It actually does remove the unremovable debuff from Umbral Enchantress. If any of you have watched my Umbral video, you'll know this anyway. If not, feel free to go watch my Umbral video. She pairs really nicely with him. I tend to use him and her together in 3v3 arena. For this reason, she can come in, throw up her unkillable, which blocks her out for 5 turns, except that he can come along, throw this off, and all of a sudden she's got all her abilities back again. Obviously the unkillable's on cooldown, but she can still use her A2, which she's not supposed to be able to do that. To be fair, it's not broken that this works this way. I think they should just change it to not even say that, and you just use it that way. It's a great pairing. Obviously, again, she's a defense-based champion, so he can actually increase her damage with his increased defense, increased crit rate. So again, it's a really lovely pairing. Let's move on to his masteries. So with him, I've gone down the defense tree and the support tree, because obviously he's not built for damage. So he has fairly high base resistance, so I've built him out for a fair amount of resistance. Obviously I would like to get him higher. He's a great champ for this in the arena. If you can get his resistance up high enough, he'll be shrugging off debuffs left, right and centre. Pairing with somebody who's got a good resistance lead, which I quite often do with Razin, who's one of the better ones in the game, then you know, you can get an extra 90 to the resistance, and you know, everybody else gets debuffed. He doesn't. He comes along, uses his cleanse ability, removes all those debuffs, and then all of a sudden everybody's fine. So that's really great. So resistance is the way I personally go with him. Obviously, as with any mastery, look for yourself, base it on where you're going to use him, how you're going to use him, and what champs you're going to be using him with. And even what gear you've got on, and not on this blindly. So I've gone for improved parry, decrease the damage this champion receives when this champ's hit with a critical hit. Obviously he's in the arena, so that helps keep him up. Increases the rejuvenation, increases the healing and the value of shield buffs this champion receives. Obviously he may be, when I'm using him in the arena, with a champion that puts up shields, so that'll mean the shields are bigger. The healing he does to himself anyway will be improved by this. Obviously you want to keep him alive, you want him staying up there, putting out those buffs, putting out ripping off the debuffs. So again, I've gone for this. So shadow heal, if you're using him in the arena or even in a dungeon and the enemy heals, he's going to get healed as well. I've gone for increase ally resist by 5% for each buff placed on them by this champion, since he places a lot of buffs that actually really make sense for him. So that helps all your teams resist to a degree. He's actually a great champion if you want to build a resist team. Say him, Razin, somebody else. Relay Death reduces the damage from a specific enemy. Cycle of Revenge has a 50% chance of increasing turn meter by 15% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit. Obviously that keeps him going faster to help your team. Has a 50% chance to counter attack when this champion loses 25% of their max HP from a single skill. And then I've actually gone down into Unshakable with him and give him an extra 50 resist. So we'll go take a look at the artifacts and stats I've got. So his resist is not as high as I would like, don't get me wrong, but as you can see, his base resist is 30. It's not amazing, but considering many champions have it at 0, it helps. I need to get his resistance up in the Great Hall a bit more, I think, to help buff him up a bit. But 228, that's not too bad. Obviously, it's still lower than many people run their accuracy at, so although I mainly use him in 3v3 arena, where people are using maybe less geared champions. Crit rate, crit damage, you can build him out for this, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. He does actually do okay damage with his A1, but since he's only got that one attack ability, I wouldn't worry about it. Speed, you want him going fast. I've got him at 201. You obviously want his health up as high as you can get it. I've got it up to 56,000. I would prefer to get that even higher still. He's a great candidate for a shield set. And if I actually had the gear at the moment, that's exactly what I'd do with him. Because obviously then in the arena he's going to go in. He's going to have a big shield to start with based off of his HP. His HP helps with his heals, and obviously it helps keep him alive. Defense, again, you want a good solid defense on him. I wish this was higher. Sorry, this is his attack, 2000 whatever, not too important. His defense is not particularly high. It's a base 947. It's easier to build on his HP than it is his defense. Obviously you do want to increase that where you can, but again, I would say HP is the priority due to his heal. If we go and look at what gear I've got him in, so this needs to be rolled up, obviously, when I get around to it, and have the silver for it, which anybody who's watched any of my videos know, I'm always broke for silver. Lately, I have spent days just farming Spider, just trying to earn silver, just to equip some characters, roll them up, do them a bit better. Obviously, I'm now trying to work on my Faction Wars teams, which, you know, it's all very gear intensive, takes a lot of gear. Even if you're just swapping bits of gear around, it can then cost you to do that. So I want to roll this up, obviously. I would actually prefer if I've got one with speed and resistance. I don't think I do. No. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Yeah, so I'll probably ignore that one, swap it over for this one, and roll this up to 16 and get him some extra speed and some extra resistance. Gone for HP on the neck because obviously I'm trying to boost his HP. I just happen to get rolls in accuracy. Here I would have preferred defense or crit damage, or especially the resistance. That's only at 18. I would like it higher. He is an attack based champion, so I did give him some attack, but to be fair, this was mainly because it had a triple roll in HP percentage. So I mean, you could argue swapping into a HP base ring, something like this maybe, which when I've got the silver again I'll roll him up, and you know, he's in no 6-star gear here at all. A couple of pieces were even 4-star. In all honesty, I believe his chest was 6-star and his shield was 6-star. I've swapped him out to showcase him in this video, just to show you what he can do in obtainable gear. A couple of legendary pieces, but nothing ridiculous, and they're all, as I say, 4 or even 5 stars. Not everything's rolled up. You got speed boots, HP based chest with defense, speed and attack. All of those stats are useful on him. His attack helps his attack, obviously, not that he's there for damage. Speed, you want him going fast. That's more of a priority. Defense or HP are a good sub roll for him. HP gloves, again with a speed roll, attack percentage, so not too bad. Speed again, some crit damage in there. I mean, this is not a particularly great piece, to be fair. In fact, because I've got a speed set there, I'd be tempted to swap that out for anything that can give me better health and speed. This does have resistance at least. Obviously I've got some resistance here and a roll on resistance, some speed. And that's his gear. So let's show you him in some content, shall we? So we'll do the dungeon dragon, I think. To be fair, again, he's not who I'd usually run here. I don't know how well this will work. Obviously, it leaves me with no reza to pick people up if anybody falls down. Let's find him. Oh, there he is. Right, let's start. So she comes in, puts a decreased defense. He comes in, puts all these buffs up so that they're going to take less damage. To be fair, the increased defense is only going to work as a defense thing here. All these champions are based off of attack. It actually pairs quite nicely with champions that are doing damage based off defense. but obviously he's a fairly solid healer. If he had a revive to his kit as well, like Gorgorab does, oh my god, he'd be god tier. I mean, he's pretty damn good as it is. Like I said, in all honesty, I don't even know if this will succeed, because obviously they start taking a lot more damage on the second round. But as you see, they're coping nicely. They're not getting through too fast. I just don't have enough damage. Anybody who's watched any of my other guide videos will know I don't do the fastest dragon runs. Now, if I had a seer to pair with him, I would love that, because she just booms straight through these waves, no problem. You'd be at the boss in a matter of seconds, more or less. Okay, so rather than drag this on, show you the whole fight, obviously it's going to be a longer one anyway. We will edit it out there. Okay, so we are done. And actually that wasn't too bad, 5 minutes and 2 seconds. So obviously not my fastest time, but not my slowest either. To be fair, I can never remember how I got that fastest time. I'd love to recreate it, but I think it was a good fast time, but it wasn't a reliable win. That was the problem with it. We've got a 6-star piece here on a set that I don't particularly like, but it's got HP, speed and resistance. So actually this could be a very good piece for him. So I'll keep that for the moment. Now, as you can see, it was a win, and at no time was there any real danger. He's great at keeping everybody up. He's great at healing. Obviously you've got Sinesha in there helping with that too. But it was actually a fairly decent run. I just prefer having a reviver in there, because obviously if you lose somebody, then you can get that person back. But to be fair, they were never really in any danger of losing anybody in that run, so that's good. So now we're going to move on and show you him in the arena, which is the other place I think he's... don't get me wrong. Spider, he's not going to be as good as, say, Miscreated Monster, or anybody with, or Valkyrie or Warlord, somebody with massive shields. Right, so yeah, if you're struggling with Spider and you need a healer who can help keep you alive, he does alright on that. Obviously on Spider 20 he would be the wrong affinity, but on getting you up to Spider 20 he can certainly help with defense. Like I say, he can work in the clan boss. It'd help keep your team alive in the Fire Knight, but he's not going to bring you anything else. He's got that decreased speed, I suppose, so there's at least that he can put out, which is a little bit helpful. Ice Golems, again, he's going to be fine for. What's the Ice Golem's last one? I think it's green, yeah. Okay, so he's weak affinity here, which is a bit of a pain. But since he's not doing damage and he's there purely, he will take more damage himself, obviously, but he still does a fairly good solid job of clearing debuffs, keeping your team up, so he'll work quite well there. And let's get him into the arena. Here we go, somebody else is already using him here, so we'll actually mimic them, I suppose. Who are we going to put in then? We'll take out our speed lead. Actually, we'll go for a resist team, shall we? So, here we've got a fairly solid resist team. This sort of team can work fairly well on defense, and I do use him for defense. You can pair him with, say, Razin, Valkyrie himself. Somebody else who runs off a defense who's quite good. Off the top of my head, I can't think that I've got. Whirlum's okay, I suppose. He's not brilliant. Still, actually, she's a good one. Obviously, she gives you revive and stuns, and she does some alright damage. In fact, you know what? We'll even throw that in. So we'll try this out, see how we do. Obviously, this team is a bit stronger than me. They've obviously got quite a high resistance. You'll notice the strength of this team is a lot higher than my normal teams because of all the resistance. I've still managed to go first, so we get our block buffs up and all the rest of it. Let's get Valkyrie's shields up and the counter attacks. That's the only negative thing with bringing Syl in for this one. Is obviously I maybe should have brought Masteries in instead, just to remove their debuffs. We will lower the turn meter because that can still be done even with that up. Don't need to run that at the moment. Okay, let's go for their Syl. As you can see, it's a very strong defensive team. It's not necessarily ideal on offense all the time, but like I say, I mean, I do use it for defense. I do use it for 3v3, where it is absolutely brilliant. Actually, on hindsight, I should have brought in Umbral. She would have been a good one for this. Especially if she had gone first, she could have actually locked out their Mausoleum Mage. Let's get our stuns up while their buffs are down. So as you see, that's a win. They were a stronger team than me. 177 to my 158. Obviously, I've got the likes of Valkyrie in there, who's an absolutely amazing champ anyway. But to be fair, the other two members of this team are actually quite free to play friendly, because obviously you've got Razin's Fusible. I know he's not the easiest to get. Getting all those champs takes some time and some luck. I myself was waiting, I think, 3 or 4 months for one champion to finish him off. But he is a great champion, defensive, strong, reduces turn meter. He's great in the clan boss. Not that this is a guide for him. Syl, again, login reward, absolutely amazing. You pair him with somebody like Mausoleum Mage, he increases their damage they do, as well as keeping their defenses up. So all in all, he's an absolutely amazing champion. He is an S tier support. Maybe even an SS tier support. He does not get enough love or enough mention. Most of the mentions he tends to get are actually in conjunction with Seer. And don't get me wrong, that's a great use for him if you've got her. He is actually the best for throwing out all those buffs. Anybody who's seen my Seer guide will actually have seen that I wasn't using him, because on that account that I've got the Seer, I don't have a Mausoleum Mage. On this account I've got the Mausoleum Mage, but I don't have the Seer. And he is the best for that. He is absolutely amazing for it. To be fair, somebody like Bad L would pair quite well and do it as well, and throw out all a number of debuffs, but a number of buffs. But all in all, he's an absolutely amazing champ. He's great just about everywhere, really, except for, I mean, like I say, if you haven't got a better champion, he'll help keep people alive in almost any dungeon. And he's great in the arena, and he can be used in the clan boss, certainly at earlier stages. He falls off a bit later on, I think. But again, you know, he's going to help with heals, he's going to help with putting the block debuffs up, so you're not even going to take stuns if that's up. And if that's not up and you do take stuns, he's got the cleanse to remove the stuns, as well as healing your team. So all in all, absolutely amazing champ. I do love him. I do use him regularly. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, click that like button. Consider subscribing to see more of my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.